we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Was.
So it's funny you would use that euphemism.
Yeah, that was even no pun intended.
Very rude.
Listen, this is not a fat shaming situation. I don't like talking about other people's weight, but when you're a professional athlete and you're a max player and you're the most important pick in the history of the franchise, the Zion in person was stunning. And I saw it on TV. And in TV, you're like, you never know. TV adds 10 pounds. He's just gigantic. He's way out of shape. And it doesn't totally affect him in the games because he still weirdly has this first step explosiveness. He doesn't have the second jump anymore. Second jump's gone. But he's carrying too much weight. And I thought there was a real disrespect with the way the Lakers even defended him because they were like, we're just playing 7 feet off you. You can't shoot threes. He missed, I think, 5 of his first 6 free throws. They attacked him on defense. He had a bunch of defensive lapses. And I like this Pelicans team. It's 2 different teams. There's the Zion team. And then there's this other team I really want to see with Daniels and Murphy and, Brandon Ingram and Alvarado and McCollum and just like flying around kind of like Indiana. And they can't fly around with Zion in this condition. But Rob, Waz and I were just, Waz, I'll start with you. Neither of us could believe it.
It was tough. First, so they're doing the little handshake, hand clap after the anthem thing, and Zion kind of walks by us. And I don't want to step on Bill's, body language corner, but the guy looked like he just woke up from a nap. Like, this is a big game, prime time.
Yeah, he
Vegas.
looked out of it.
The crowd is juice. There was legitimate juice and energy in the building by the time that game had started. Like, it was already there. It wasn't like the first game where folks were still trickling in 6 minutes into the first quarter. Like, the game was ready to go. And Zion looked like he was still wiping the eye crust out of his eye. And I was like, that's curious. Then Bill pointed out to me, he was like, what happened to best shape of his career, first serious offseason, blah, 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 Zion?
Yeah, that's long gone.
It's not there.
Guys, I thought we had an understanding as a nation that between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're not going to do this to each other. Give the guy a break.
Fair.
Listen, it's kind of sad. I think it's a sad NBA story because at some point this isn't coming back. Like, this is kind of what your body becomes. Barkley's talked about this. Barkley came into the league. He was 300 pounds. His first season on the Sixers, he was able to move around. He carried a lot of weight. But I think Barkley even said on my podcast last year, it's like the problem with carrying this weight, you can do it. You can cheat. You can look like a version of yourself. But you're going to get hurt because he looks like Jalen Carter. He looks like he should be playing nose tackle for the New Orleans Saints. And it's irresponsible. He's the franchise guy that made this huge commitment to him. And it's like, get in shape. Look around the league. Look at all these dudes. We just watched Halliburton. That guy is the most locked in possible. Ooh. And it's another young star who takes his shit seriously. And it doesn't seem like Zion does. And Rob, I think they had a chance to trade him last summer. Now, I've also heard that there weren't a lot of people knocking on the door. Yeah. It's like, did they try? Did they not? I remember I said something and it got aggregated. It's like Simmons says they're going to trade him by the end of the week. It wasn't what I said. It was one person who told me, hey, don't be surprised if they trade Zion this week. That was it. But I think they might have missed their window now. I don't know what you would get for him because it's a super expensive guy. Waz, we're going to do the worst contract draft at some point. Super expensive guy is not in shape. I've seen this play. I'm old. I've seen a lot of NBA seasons. This never ends well. So, Rob, am I panicking or is this fair?
You're not panicking because once you make the decision to not trade him, and I'm sympathetic to that decision for the record. He's an impossible player to think about trading because he could burn you so badly if he gets his career on track. But this is what the darker timeline looks like. And Bill, you said, it's not affecting him yet on the court, but it is
affecting him.
Well, it's affecting his role for one. Like the Pelicans do not prioritize him in their offense because they can't trust him to, one, be healthy, And 2, to have his wind at the end of games if you're going to him over and over and over.
Oh my God, he was sucking it up. That was one of the things we noticed.
And 2 possessions later, he's sucking wind and they're taking him back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was playing like 4 or 5 minute spurts. It's fucking December.
Yeah. It's just so strange to see him too catch the ball on the move, going toward the basket, not even look at the rim. Just, I'm going to dish off to the corner. I'm going to dish off to another guy. He clearly has it in his head that he is playing a more facilitator role for this team. And I can understand how they got to that point and why that would be a healthy thing for their offense. But just seeing a player who's as explosive as him be so locked into what he thinks he can't or shouldn't be doing, it's a failure on a lot of different fronts. It's a failure of the management of his career to this point in the holistic sense.
And then he'll have this stretch, like, what was that play when he all of a sudden exploded right to left across the lane at like warp speed and laid in traffic with did a layup, and we were all like, holy shit. How did that happen?
He has those bursts. He definitely does. And even there was a play where he got fouled where that was like a quick twitch play where it's like, oh, look at Zion being explosive. And I'm about to do the thing that I used to hate when my mom did it to me. She'd be like, look at such and such's son. He's an engineer. Look at such and such's son. I heard he's in med school, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And again, look at Halliburton. Like that guy, he is lighting a fire under his guys' asses. He gets those guys excited to play. He's a leader. To me, that's the biggest disappointment about Zion is that he doesn't carry himself like the franchise guy. He doesn't carry himself like
he did
leader.
at
He
Duke.
doesn't carry himself
he
like
has
he
it in him.
cares.
He did it at Duke
for a couple weeks.
But he really gave a shit when he was at Duke. And I thought Russillo was sitting with us and was saying, like, you know, when Zion had that stretch, 2 years ago, when it was point forward Zion, and he ripped off that 2.5-3 month run, and it was like Russillo's like favorite random league pass event. He just like lost his mind. And I was saying, like, we could almost do a narrative podcast about the 1 year Zion was in shape because it was fucking magical. He was one of the best 4 offensive players in the league for 3 months of the season. And I don't know, to watch it like this, I was really surprised. And I don't know what they do, because we got the trade deadline in 2 months, but they have a good team. You know, they have good young players, and it feels like there's an identity in there. But then there's also this Zion piece, and I don't know how they reconcile it. But that was, I think, a big surprise to all of us. All right, what do you got?
That's kind of the damning thing about this game, though, is the Pelicans do have a good team. They have a good supporting cast. They have seemingly a lot of the things you should have to at least compete in a game like this. And they couldn't even hang on the same floor with LeBron and these guys.
We were saying they might be better off telling Zion to go away for a couple weeks and lose weight and get in shape, and then try to find an identity. You know, because they could be a really good defensive team if they wanted to be, especially when Nance comes back. Yep. It's not going to happen with Zion. I hope he figures it out, man, because, you know, we've seen with him and with Ja.
So young.
These are 2 of the most talented dudes we've had in the last 15 years. And both of them are just getting in their own way. And it's like, just look around, get competitive with the other people that you're competing against in your age range. You should watch that Tyrese Halliburton game and be like, fuck, that should be me. But it was a little somber, but at the same time watching, I guess to put a bow on it, then there's LeBron, who's maximized every drop from this already unbelievable body he had, right? He's had the same blessings that Zion had in a lot of ways physically, and maximized. All he does is put money and time and energy into his body so he can do what he did tonight. And I don't know how Zion walks away from that and goes, am I doing something wrong? Because when you pay somebody $50 million a year, $40 million a year, whatever it is, you reward him with the extension.
Yep.
He thinks he's okay. He's fine. He got paid. He got the contract.